Hi, today is my last day in Costa Rica and I leave to go home tomorrow. I wanted to explain this whole ayahuasca experience that I had at Rythmia before I left, just because I really wanted to keep it fresh in my mind, and I figured like if I went home it would be just probably lost in translation. So I guess I'll just kind of talk about why I even came here, because a lot of people were like, you know, your life's fine, you don't need to go do a psychedelic in Costa Rica to find yourself, Hannah, just your life's fine. And I mean, I think the main reason that I came here was because, like most people, I had traumatic stuff happen to me in my life, in my childhood, and I never really felt like I was able to love anyone or love myself. Even though I practice self-love so much and I try so hard, it just seemed just like I wasn't able to do it for some reason. Like I was blocking it internally for some reason. Even with my husband, like we would have problems, or we were having problems, because I just wasn't able to like feel his love and give him the love that he needed. And it's just all from this traumatic stuff that happened to me when I was little. So that was the main reason that I came to Costa Rica to do ayahuasca, because I mean, over time, like this kind of stuff just really gets to you, you know? I started feeling like, what's the point of life? Like, why am I even here? Is it just really to make videos and make money? And every day just kind of felt like another day to get through, and not really something that I was excited for. Like I was really never excited for life. I never really saw the beauty in life or appreciated just being alive. And I can tell you that that's totally changed now. So that was the main reason that I came to Costa Rica to do ayahuasca. I went to Rythmia Life Advancement Center, and there they do 4 different ayahuasca ceremonies, and they're all different. And some of them are really intense, and I'll talk about that. But I guess I'll just get into my first ceremony. So obviously when I got there, even when I was traveling here, I was just so nervous. Like I started thinking, why did I come here? This is crazy. Like, I don't know if this is gonna really work or do anything for me. And then when I actually got to Rythmia, I felt a lot better. Like just the vibe at that place is so full of love and understanding. All the people there are on like the same wavelength. Everyone has come to heal themselves. And I actually arrived on Saturday, so I got to see all the people that were leaving that day and the people that were leaving on Sunday as well. So I got to see all those people, and they had been there for a week, and everyone was just like literally glowing, just so excited to leave and to start their life. And I actually went to breath work the first night, because they do breath work on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I went to the breath work ceremony that night, and it was really odd because I was laying there, and I have done breath work on my own. I've never done this type of transformational breath work that they do at Rythmia. But I do breath work on my own at home just for my own sake, and it's a totally different kind. But I was doing the breath work, and I was laying there, and like I was just thinking, this isn't doing anything. After like 10 minutes, my mouth just felt really dry, and it was really exhausting to do it because we do it for an hour there. And then the practitioner came up to me, and she touched a few of my pressure points, and she said to me, it's safe to feel loved. And I like totally, completely just like lost it. And the rest of the 45-50 minutes, I was bawling so intensely, just from the fact that she said that to me, and that she like knew to say that to me, and it was just crazy. So that was my first really intense experience with that. So going into the first ceremony, at this point I was really excited, and I don't really know how I'm going to explain this, because it's such a weird, intense, bizarre, beautiful experience that it's just like so impossible to explain. Like if anyone out there has ever done ayahuasca or a psychedelic like psilocybin or LSD or anything like that. Like, it's very bizarre and hard to explain. So I wrote down a lot of stuff. I wrote every night in my journal, and I actually wrote out all of my intentions and things that happened. So I'll just read you my intentions and some of the stuff that I wrote down, because I just don't really know how to explain this to you guys. Like, so the first night I went in, and at Rythmia they teach you 3 intentions to go in with during your ceremonies, because Jerry has basically, he's the owner of Rythmia, he's basically laid out this entire 4 ceremonies and this program off of what the ayahuasca medicine told him to do to help people. So the first intention that they teach you is, show me who I've become. So I kind of added to that intention, and I said, show me who I've become and show me how to love again. So I go up, I'm sitting there, I go up to drink the first drink, and I go lay back down. Everybody around me within like 20 or 30 minutes starts throwing up. They start just kind of like freaking out. I remember my neighbor was laying down and she was just going like this in the air. And I was looking at her like, I don't feel anything. So about an hour later, they call for the second drink, and I go up. The shaman's like, how do you feel? And I was like, I don't feel anything. So I take a full second drink, and oh boy. I kind of got an attitude with Mother Ayahuasca at this point. So I laid down, and I don't think anything happened for about another 30 minutes or so. And I was just like, all right, I'm ready. Like, let's go. That's what I said to her in my head. All of a sudden, I feel so sick. I get on my hands and knees, because they teach you to get on your hands and knees if you're gonna throw up. So I get on my hands and knees, and I go over my bucket, and nothing comes out or anything, except for this screaming voice in my head that is just screaming, I hate you. And that's all that comes out into the bucket. I never threw up. I actually never threw up. I never had diarrhea the entire 4 ceremonies. Nothing, I'd never had any purging in that way, but I had purgings in different ways. So after that, everything literally just turns into fractals, and it's like a metallic gray brown fractal everywhere. And I'm like freaking out at this point, because I've never done a psychedelic. I don't know what to expect. So I lay down, and the main thing that people teach when doing ayahuasca is to surrender, 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 surrender. Just trust the medicine, trust the process, and you're gonna be okay. And I did not do that. It was so incredibly difficult for me to do that. So the first thing that I start feeling is just this incredibly like heavy, dark feeling in my chest and in my heart. It was hard to breathe. I felt like I was freaking dying. Like, I literally thought I was dying, and I was fighting this so hard. I would lay down, and then I'd sit up, and everything, like, your movements are just very like, I don't know, like, say that I have my hand here. It's like I can see my hand here and I can see it here at the same time. So it's like your movements are like that, or at least that's what I saw. So, I'm moving up and I'm moving down, and everything's just like, just very spacey at this point. I feel totally drunk, and I have no idea what's going on. So I start fighting this feeling, and I get so terrified that I'm gonna die, that something's wrong. I'm like yelling for the shaman. I had the shaman and Candace, my friend, come help me like 5 times during this process. And every time they would just come up to me and be like, just calm down, like everything's fine, you're safe. She's just healing you. You're just having a healing process in your body, and you're gonna be fine. So every time they came up, I felt better, but it was just so trippy, because like I would be looking at the shaman and they would have 3 eyes. I would reach out to touch them, and I would feel like I'm touching them, but they would be at the very end of my bed, but they would be so like fractalized toward me that I would be thinking that I'm touching them. And I asked one of the shamans, I'm like, are you real? And she says, not really. I mean, no, not really. And I was just like, what the fuck? So it got to a point where it was so bad that I just, in my head, I just said, this is it, like, fuck it, like, I have to die. I literally have nothing left at this point. I just have nothing left but to die. And then I fucking died. Like, I literally died. And just keep in mind that while this is happening, there's a million other things happening at the same time. So like in my head, it's not just like I'm focused on this one thing. It's just like all this chatter, and like it just felt like I was downloading millions of pieces of information from just the universe and past lives and just like all of this stuff. And it was really, really scary. So after I died, I went to this place that was totally black and dark. And I remember just seeing light beams, and that's all I could see. And I wasn't in my body at this point. I was not human or anything. And I just remember thinking, like, I felt like I had been there forever and I was never gonna get out of there. It felt like a lifetime, a million lifetimes that I had been in this place. And it was really terrifying to me. So it was just really hard for my mind to try and grasp. And the whole time I have Mother Ayahuasca in my head just saying, like, just calm down, just surrender. And for some point, like some reason, I started just thinking about how beautiful it is to be human and to be alive. And I'm probably gonna cry like a million times during this video. But I started just thinking about, you know, my husband and the earth and just the plants and the animals and the oceans and the everything. And I was just thinking, like, God, it's so beautiful to be human. Like, I just want to get back there. Like, I'll never take it for granted again. And then at some point I came back into my body, and she hands me this baby, and it's like me, but it's an infant. And she says, this is yours to have. And I grab this baby, and I'm like holding it, and I'm crying, and I'm just like, I will never leave you. I will never ever hurt you. I will like keep you with me forever. And I was just crying and like, you know, I'm gonna protect you. Just holding her, crying. And for some reason, I just knew at some point that this was my soul and that she had given my soul back to me. And like, I had this weird vision of me putting her in this like beautiful room, into like just a baby cradle, like a very decorated one, but it was inside of me. So this room was like inside of me somewhere, and I put her in this just like beautiful crib, and I just told her, like, you know, you're safe here. I'm never gonna hurt you. I'm gonna protect you. I'm gonna keep you with me forever. I'll never lose you again. Because that's another thing that they teach at Rythmia, is that a lot of people become detached from their soul, or something traumatic happens when you're small, when you're a little kid, and your soul just thinks like it's not safe to be here. And it doesn't really like leave, but it like super detaches from you. And I totally believe that, because whenever I look at little children, like, they're just so beautiful. They're so curious and happy, and everything to them is just like the funnest thing in the world. They'll just be doing anything, and it's just like so exciting and so fun. And they're just so mesmerized by everything. So that happened, and this entire time, not only was a million things chattering in my head and like all of this stuff going on, and like I just felt like it was very cosmic, and like it was just an infinite intelligence. And there's 4 different types of like experiences that you can have with ayahuasca. So the first one is visions. Obviously, people have really crazy visions. They'll see just like insane stuff. I didn't really have a lot of that, but I did have some of it. The second thing is you will have a consult. So it's like someone talking to you, and just, it's like, you know, just talk like you're talking to someone back and forth, and they're teaching you things and telling you things. That was mostly what I experienced my 4 ceremonies. Another one is like a body experience. So I definitely experienced a body experience. I had just tremendous dark energy. Like I just knew that this was dark energy, like leaving my body, and it was the way that I really purged. And then the fourth experience that you can have is what the shamans call a nada, which means nothing happens. And you basically just, the moment that you take the drink, you fall asleep, and then you wake up when the ceremony's over, and basically you feel like nothing happens, but it's one of the most healing and tremendous experiences that you can have. And it's also very rare because it's healing things back in your lineage that like you don't even remember, that you couldn't even possibly comprehend. And the Colombian shamans say that if you were actually awake for this experience, it would kill you because it's so intense. But it's healing stuff that is just so far back from past lives, it's like soul work, just things that your soul has been through and been damaged by that you just don't know about. So this first night I had tremendous feeling and pain, more like just pressure. It was like a dark pressure within my heart and within my lungs. And that was the most intense experience that I had that night. And it just was so uncomfortable. It just felt like so much purging and stuff like leaving me. This entire time though, I was having surgery on my brain. So another thing that happens is people will have something called sacred surgery, which is where like they say that whoever comes and they will give you surgery on some part of your body that needs healing. So I just knew this entire time that this was happening, and I would have some pain like in my head. I've always had headaches, really bad headaches, and I just felt the entire time that my head was like cut in half, like it was cut open completely, and like my brain was like this. And there were, from what I remember, there were two little, I don't know what they were because I couldn't see them, but like little guys working on my brain. And I remember them having like one of those construction things. What is it called? You know when they're building a building and they have that like long crane that goes back and forth? They had one of those, and all I could hear was like and like all this weird noise in my brain. So when I would get really bad like brain pressure and just whatever going on in my head, she would tell me like, we're working, go to sleep. And then I'd fall asleep for like 2 seconds and then I'd wake up. So also during this night, I had a ton, like with the feelings that I had in my body of dark energy leaving me, she told me that all of that dark energy was self-hate. And it was judgment, it was self-hate, it was criticism, it was comparison, it was resentment, it was all these things just leaving my body. She showed me that, you know, alcohol and the cigarettes and all the shit that I used to do to my body, taking Adderall, all that stuff, that it was all just me thinking that I wasn't good enough. And she showed me that I have everything inside of me to heal myself. And yeah, so, okay, I'm getting really sidetracked. After she gave me my soul back and I was holding my soul like just so tightly, I started to feel like I was suffocating. And she told me that even love can be very suffocating, and that I had to let go and let her be and let her be free. So instead of trying to, and I took that, so I took that as me controlling myself so much that I could never feel just like free and happy and like a free spirit. You know, I'm always controlling my diet, I'm always trying to like work out and do these certain things, and I'm trying to control my thoughts, and I'm trying to live my life like in a very structured way. She told me that I have to just let her go and let her be free. So that was another thing that happened. But after I came back and I had my soul, I felt like just the most intense, profound love I have ever felt in my life. Like it was not human. Like I don't even think you could feel this as a human. It was totally insane. Just the craziest amount of love and gratitude ever. And I was sitting there crying forever and ever about just how grateful I was to be alive, how grateful I was to be on this planet, to be human, to have this beautiful experience and like this just everything that's happened in my life, like how it has shaped me and molded me into the person that I am, and like how I was just grateful for all the shit that happened to me and all the things that have made me stronger. And it was just totally insane. So I basically worked through everything and healed all of that and got rid of all of that energy and basically learned how to let myself be free, let myself be happy, let myself just bask in the beauty of life. Yeah. So that was really intense. But after that, I had this vision of someone coming. It wasn't really like a person, it was just kind of like an energy, like an outline of a person, like a shadow. And they came and they stuck their hands inside my body and they ripped out my heart. And the third thing that they teach at Rythmia is to ask the medicine to heal your heart, because a lot of people have a broken heart. And I didn't ask the medicine to give me my soul back this night or to heal my heart, but I got everything this night. So it was just the most fucking intense night of my entire life. And in the beginning, I just remember thinking like, why the fuck did I do this? Like, I'm never doing this again. This is not what I thought it would be like. And that was when I was fighting it. But once I relaxed into it, it really did become just the most beautiful experience you could ever imagine. So when they ripped my heart out, I started freaking out again. And I yelled for Candace, who is my friend that works at Rythmia, and she did all 4 ceremonies with me. She like changed her whole schedule so she could be there for me. And I said, Candace, they took my heart. Like, I'm gonna die again. I just literally died. Like, I can't die again. And she just said, babe, it's okay. Like, they're just healing it. So just imagine them giving it back to you, it being like super clean and pure and just beautiful and perfect. So I started imagining that. And I think I got really sidetracked because I don't remember them giving me my heart back, but I know that I did get it back. But during this experience, like, I shit you not, there is a trillion things happening at once, and that's why it's so hard to explain. Like, there's just so many times where I was just laying there and like I would just be like, wow, like, and just have this huge revelation, and I can't even tell you what it was because it happened like 100 times. So it was just really intense. And yeah, it was freaking nuts, man. Like, I did write down some stuff after that night. In the beginning, when I was dying over and over and over again, when I was fighting it, I realized that it was all of my stress and anxiety that I've had my whole life, like living in this cyclical circle of like trying to do something, getting discouraged, not doing it, fucking it up, and then starting over. Like, I've done that so many times. Like, everything's just like this huge circle. And I also just had like a really big epiphany about my panic disorders and my anxiety that I struggled with when I was in my 20s. And that was just fucking crazy. But there was just so much darkness in the beginning that it was like I could just feel it, like just being sucked out of me. And I fought it. I should have been grateful that it was leaving, but it felt so uncomfortable. And the craziest thing to me is that you can feel so much in your body. Like, you can feel like you're literally dying. And your body feels all of this. Like, it's just so crazy to me that it's not just a mind thing. It's totally like your entire being is being pushed in this direction. But the beautiful thing about ayahuasca is that she truly, truly does know exactly what you need to heal with your intention, exactly how to help you heal, like what you can handle, and she won't give you anything beyond what you can handle. And it's really just about teaching you lessons. Like, I learned so many lessons. A really big one that I learned that night was to just really relax into life and stop trying to fucking control everything and stop, setting all these goals. And a big thing for me was it was just like I was always looking forward, like looking for something in the future, and never really just being now and being happy and loving life and seeing the beauty in all of it. So that was a huge lesson that I learned that night. And just so much shit happened. Like so much stuff happened. But it was, I mean, it was scary in the beginning, and then at the end it was just so worth it. I remember just seeing Candace and just literally just leaping towards her and just hugging her. Like I've never hugged anyone in my life, and just being like, I fucking love you so much. Like we were both crying. I felt so much love and so much gratitude, and just so much that it was like all the love that I missed out on my entire life. Like that's what it felt like. All of it just packed into like a few hours. It was so beautiful. So that was my first night. And the first night at Rythmia, they have it's 3 female shamans, and it's a female energy, and it's a very purgative, it really cleanses you and sucks everything out of you, which is totally what I felt. So the second night, it's a male shaman, his name is Brad, and it's a totally different experience. I was 100% like, I'm not doing this again, because even though it was so beautiful and so worth it, like it was so much work, like so much fucking work. And when people say, you know, people do ayahuasca and they do all these drugs to have a trip and have fun, it's definitely not fun. Like it's not fun at all. Everyone before every ceremony, even the shamans, say they're nervous, they're scared, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what she's going to pull out of you, or what she's going to show you, or just throw in your face and be like, this is what you need to see. And like, it's fucking crazy. So the second night, and I'm leaving a lot of this out just because, like I said, I could never explain it all, and a lot of it is really personal and all of that. But after that first night, I felt like my entire life would never be the same. It was so transformative and so beautiful, and just so everything I could have ever imagined. So yeah, the second night, I go into ceremony, and I mean, all day I felt this underlying, I had a headache all day on the second day. Just a massive headache, and people said it's because of your brain surgery, like you're recovering from brain surgery. Why wouldn't you have a headache? You had brain surgery all night. So I'm like, that makes sense, but it's really weird that I had just like this intense headache. And I'm thinking like, I can't do this with this headache. First, I mean, most of it was my ego saying like, don't do this again, you're fine, like you don't need to go through this again. And I mean, no, it was all my ego. So, you know, I'm talking to people, they're telling me their experiences, and I'm like thinking all day, like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not doing this again. Fuck no. So I get up the courage to go to ceremony, and I'm sitting there, and Candace was like, talk to the shaman, tell him how you feel. So I talk to him, I start talking to him, I just start bawling. I'm like, you know, all this stuff happened last night, I can't do this again. Like, it was beautiful, but it was the scariest thing I've ever been through in my entire life. I was so exhausted, like so exhausted from that experience. And I mean, all day I had anxiety that was just still being pulled from me. I just knew that it was still being purged out of me. It's weird because like when you have this experience, like it's not like you have this very definite thing that's telling you that this stuff is happening. It's just, you know, like for some reason you just know what is happening. So I'm telling the shaman on the second night, you know, what happened to me the first night. And I knew that this happened, but he made me feel a lot better about it. He was like, well, you died. Like, you literally had a death, and you had a rebirth, and you got your soul back, and you had your heart healed, and like, that's not gonna happen again. And he said, the thing that happens is she knows, Mother Ayahuasca, she knows what she put you through and exactly what you need, and she's not gonna put you through that again. So the second night, I'm like, okay, I can do this. I set some good intentions just for myself, for the sake of my sanity. I said, show me how to trust you and help me feel safe. Because I had already had the 3 intentions that Rythmia shows people or teaches people to get. So I said, that's what I said. I go up, I take my drink. I'm like, show me how to trust you and help me feel safe. Because I definitely didn't feel like I was trusting at all in this process on the first night. I was fighting it. I kind of learned how to trust it over time, but I was like, I don't know if I can go into it again and feel that same way. So the second night, I take the first drink and I go lay down, and it was like, I felt like she was cuddling me all night. Like I was just wrapped in someone's arms, like her arms, and she was just kind of rocking me. And it was really beautiful. I was able to walk. The first night I was not able to move at all. I was totally disabled because, I mean, they were doing brain surgery on me, so why would, I don't know, why would I be able to move? I couldn't move at all the first night. So the second night I was able to walk around. I was able to I was able to see other people's experiences. So I felt like I was a kid this entire night. I felt like I was, I had my rebirth. So I was a child and I was kind of like growing up through this night. So I was like a little baby and I was being cuddled by my mom and like being taken care of the first hour or so. And then I slowly like grew up during the second night. And the male energy was so loving. Brad plays the most beautiful music you could ever imagine, and it was just such a beautiful experience. So I mean again, there was a million things happening during this time, so I don't really know how to explain it to you guys, but the whole night, like, it was just like full of love, and nothing really bad happened. I didn't have any crazy pains in my body. I didn't have any purging. I didn't have anything like that. So at one point I was actually able to go outside. There was a fire and I was laying on one of the hammocks, and I was like just laying like this and going back and forth and looking at the stars and like listening to the coyotes and the owls, and it was just so beautiful, like so beautiful. So much love, so much love. And I remember people would come out, they'd come outside, they'd come to the fire and they'd start talking, and I would just be laying there on my side looking at them like they were my parents, and I was just like a little kid, like so interested in what they were talking about, and just I felt so comforted by hearing other people's voices. And the weird thing is that I think this happens to everyone, but ayahuasca, it really amplifies everything. So it amplifies your vision, it amplifies your hearing so much that it would feel like I would be laying there, even outside with no one around me, and I would hear like one of the shamans go shoo in my ear, and they do this sound that's like shoo, shoo. And it's like they say that that's the sound that you hear when you're born. So I heard the sound just so many times, and to me it was just like signifying my rebirth. And I mean, I'm outside, no one's out there, no one is around me, and I kept hearing the sound like right in my ear, shoo, shoo. And I would look around and I'd be like, what the fuck, like where did that come from? And that was really weird. And also, like, just I could hear stuff happening just so far away from me. It was like I was just megaphone ears. So yeah, I mean, this whole second night was just full of beauty and love, and she was showing me like tons of like geometric, I saw more stuff this night, so when I went inside and I closed my eyes, I would see just like geometric patterns and just like things flowing in and flowing out, and it was just really beautiful. And I was very calm this whole night. She really did show me how to trust her. She kept me calm, and she basically showed me how to meditate during the process. So she showed me that I just need to stop my thoughts, stop judging everything that's happening and trying to label it and say like, oh, like I have this feeling, I'm probably gonna die, or like, oh, I heard this sound, like what was that? Like that was really scary. Like instead of having to judge everything that was happening, just really accepting it and being grateful for it, and everything that she showed me, being grateful for it, and know that it was just leaving. So what they say is like everything that is coming during this experience is also going. So if you're going through something really hard, really painful, it's just leaving you. All the pain, all the anger, all the whatever you're feeling is leaving you. And the funniest thing on the second, or no, that wasn't the second night. Okay, so let's get into the third night, because the second night, that was the second night. I had like a cup and a half of medicine, and it was just really beautiful. So the third night was the female shamans again. And they bring this fucking crazy energy that is just, like I said, so purgative and so cleansing. And it's really painful. Like, I did not like the female shaman nights. It was hard work, like extremely hard work. So I go up, I take my drink, and I say, you know, show me what I need to see. And the first few songs, they sing the carols that are really really get you to cleanse and purge out a lot of stuff. But I never actually purged or like shit myself this entire time. Thank God. But I felt like I was going to a trillion times on Monday night, on Wednesday night, and on Tuesday and Thursday. That didn't happen. I didn't have those feelings, but I would be laying there and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm gonna like shit my pants, or like I'm gonna throw up like crazy. And then in my head, like for some reason, I just knew to say like, it's okay, it's going. And I would just say it's going, and then it would be gone. So Wednesday night, I had a lot of the same really dark energy feeling in my chest, in my heart. I would feel like I was suffocating. But I went through one of the hardest things that I went through this entire time. And I'm so glad that I learned how to be calm, how to meditate through it, and how to trust, because I literally thought I was gonna die. So you guys know, or you've heard in the story, that when I was in my 20s, I had agoraphobia. I had panic attacks every day, every single day, 10 plus panic attacks every day for no reason. Just I felt unhealthy, and it would spur on this panic attack. And I wasn't doing things to make myself healthy at this point. I was taking Adderall, I was drinking like a bottle or two of wine every night, I was smoking cigarettes. Like, I wasn't healthy at all. So it had a very good reason that I would have panic attacks for feeling unhealthy. And I was able to cure that myself just through basically going vegan and quitting drinking and quitting smoking and all that stuff. Quitting the things that were causing me to feel unhealthy that caused panic attacks. But I went through what she told me was all of my fear leaving me. So even though I got through the agoraphobia by myself, I mean, it kind of dwindled down like over the years. So the past like year or two, I haven't really had any panic attacks. I haven't had any panic attacks, but I will get like some anxiety sometimes. Like if I hear a loud noise, or if someone says something to me that's really hurtful, like I'll really take it to my heart, and I'll get like a lot of anxiety around it, and I'll just be really terrified. And just, you know, an overall feeling of like something bad is gonna happen, and thinking about just bad shit happening, like, you know, just with normal things in life, you worry. So I was just very like worried about stuff a lot. And I had this, I don't know how long it lasted, because time really doesn't exist when you're doing this. But I had this time period where my heart started beating like a hammer. It was like this in my chest, like so hard and so fast, probably like at least 150 beats per minute. And I'm thinking like, fuck, what is this, you know? And then it starts to creep up, and it goes into my throat as well. So I can feel it in my throat. It's just so hard. I swear, like my thyroid or whatever was just gonna pop out of my throat, and I was gonna freaking die. I thought I was gonna die. And I just said like, it's okay. Like nothing bad is gonna happen to you, Hannah. She would never hurt you. This is just leaving. And once I got to that point, it was pretty quickly that whole experience was over. And I asked her, what was that? And she said, that was all of your fear that you've built up your entire life leaving you. And I was like, wow. And like after these like very traumatic, scary experiences, I would just feel so cleansed and pure and good that I could feel that was now gone, like that she was telling me the truth. So that was a big thing for me. But what I did a lot with her was I talked to her a lot, because it made me feel good. So whenever something would come up, I would be like, what is that? And she would tell me. She'd always answer my questions, but she wouldn't really tell me things with like words. Like she would tell me through emotions. So I had this whole conversation with her, because she told me that night on Wednesday that I was a healer. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, I'm a healer. And she said that she was really proud of me because I was vegan and a lot of her healers weren't, and they just didn't get it. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. So she told me that putting plants into my body was consuming pure love. She said, that is pure love, and you're putting that into your body, and you know, then you have all this to give. And then she gave me this, she gave me this package of like infinite love, endless unconditional love. And she told me that my job was to spread it to everyone I come into contact with, and that would heal myself, and it would heal the people that I give it to, and eventually it would heal the world because they would give it to other people, and just spreading this love. And that was really beautiful. And so at the end of this night, I'm just, again, like, she just wrapped me in love, and it was beautiful at the end. So every night, like, basically I went through just a very, very dark, traumatic period of cleansing, of purging, of learning lessons, of being taught just like, and downloading so much information. And then like, that was scary, and it was hard, and it was just so hard and terrifying. But on the other side, it was like, you have to go through all this darkness and get rid of it to see like the beauty and to see all the love in the world. And like every night I was just like, God, it is so beautiful to be human. And my whole life I really thought, like, what is the point of all this? Like, what is the point of life and like living? Like, I mean, we're all just here and we're doing our 9 to 5s, and we're like, you know, having families and providing for our families and like getting by. And I'm just like, what's the point of this? Like, I just don't get it. But then I totally got it. Like, she totally just showed me, like, she just showed me everything, like myself, and just that is just about love, and like being love, and showing love, and giving love, and speaking love, and like everything is love. And I always thought, you know, like I love myself, but she showed me that I am love. I don't love myself, like I am love, and everything is love. And whether it's good or it's bad, it's just a different expression of love. So she showed me that, and that was really beautiful. And yeah, it was crazy. So at the end of this night, this guy starts just laughing so hysterically. Everyone can hear it, and we all start laughing. Like, literally everybody starts laughing, and it's just like this thunder of laughter throughout the ceremony hall. And at the end, we have like a closing group, and the shamans, you know, talk to us, and then they open it up for people to share what they went through in their experience. So this guy, he says, you know, my whole life I've just been so angry, and I've just been so full of hate. And tonight, like, I just finally felt like happy, and I just started laughing. And he was laughing for like 10 minutes, just so loud. And it was just the most beautiful thing. I started crying for him, and it was so beautiful. Like, just all these people that you have these experiences with, you become so close to them. Like, I've met so many amazing friends through this, and I truly care about them so much. And I just, you know, want the best for them. I want them to have the most beautiful life, and to go on and love and be love. And I don't know, it was beautiful. So the fourth night is a 12-hour ceremony, and it's the Colombian tribe that comes into Rythmia and does the Ayahuasca ceremony, which was the most beautiful ceremony. Just so beautiful. So the shaman's name was Mitra, and this guy was, I mean, if I could say that there was a person that I would say is just the epitome and radiance of love, it'd be this guy. Like, he was just, I just can't, he's just true, pure love. Like, you just look at him and you're just like, that is what I want. Like, he was just amazing. So I went up to him. A lot of people actually went up to him before the ceremony, because we'd all been through our own shit. We've all been through just so much darkness and so much healing, and we're all exhausted. It's the 4th night. We're like 12 hours. It went from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., which ours actually went till 8 a.m. And we're just like, man, this is gonna be a long night. And we're all scared again. Like, I was scared every time I went into a ceremony. I was nervous. And I just went up to him and I was like, I'm really scared. And he's like, we'll give you a small dose and we'll just work your way up. So I felt really good after talking to him. He had been trained to be a shaman for years and years and years from his like grandfather. So he was like a true shaman who grew up in the jungle drinking ayahuasca. Like, his mother drank ayahuasca when she was pregnant. He grew up drinking ayahuasca. Like, it's a very tribal thing for these people. That's what they do. So you could just tell that he like really knew what he was doing. And I just trusted him so much. So after being terrified again, I'm like, okay. I go up and I take my first drink, and this ayahuasca drink was way different than the others. It was so thick, like so thick. It was like thicker than a smoothie. And it was like if you took coffee grounds and you ground them up in your blender with I don't even know, just like the darkest chocolate in the entire world and absolutely no sweetness whatsoever. That's what it would taste like. It was just awful. I could barely get it down. So I take my drink, I say my intention, which my intention for the 4th night, and what was it? I wanted her to show me where I came from so that I wouldn't be afraid to die, because the first night when I went to that place, when I died, I was like, I never want to go back there because I didn't know how to navigate it. And it's because, I was scared because I was trying to navigate this with like my human mind that does not understand. But once I got my soul back, I could really navigate things much better, because obviously my soul has been these places before. And I know that this whole video sounds fucking crazy and you guys probably think I'm nuts at this point, but this is just what happened. So I take my first drink, I lay down on my mat, and I pass out. This night they do blessings for everyone. So the shaman makes a circle and they bless everyone and kind of like seal you up so you're good to go. And I fell asleep for like 4 or 5 hours, and the lady came up to me and she said, how do you feel? Do you want to have your blessing? And when she woke me up, I felt so sick. Like, I was just like, I'm gonna vomit. So I'm like, sure, I'll do my blessing. Like, I'm tired, I want to get this over with. So Mitra and his other shamans, he had like 3 or 4 helpers, which every shaman had a bunch of helpers, which were just the most beautiful people ever. So grateful for them. They all start doing these blessings, and oh my god, I was like, I'm gonna 100% vomit right now, just everywhere. So I was gonna like ask him for the bucket, and then I was just like, it's okay. I had this like intense fear come over me next, like the feeling of vomiting went away, but then I had this intense fear just wash over me, and all I wanted to do was run away for some reason. And the medicine said to me, that's your ego. Like, your ego doesn't want you to be, this pure new person who's all sealed up and blessed. Like, it wants you to be living the ego life. So I just sat there and I started to meditate. At Rythmia, there's so many classes. So there's like a meditation class, there's Michael Bernard Beckwith's class, The Answer Is You. There's so many classes that you go to that really help integrate you between the ceremonies and to help you through the ceremonies. So I started meditating. I was like, all of a sudden I felt okay. So I just kept sitting there and I'm getting my blessing done, and I was just the whole time thinking like, thank you like for my healing, thank you for getting rid of my fear, and it's not going to come back, and just like, thank you for my rebirth, my new life, for my soul, for my healed heart. I was just thanking the medicine for everything it had given me through this experience. All the girls are crying, we're all crying. It was just the most beautiful experience, and the blessing took like an hour. So we're all sitting there for like an hour, and we're all drunk as shit on the medicine. We're just crying, and I don't know, it was crazy, because the blessing can also bring a lot of dark energy out of you as well. So I don't know, that was really beautiful. I go back after the blessing and I fall asleep again. So the shaman told me that that was a nada. That was what happens in their culture, the Colombian tribe, that they say is the highest blessing you could possibly get, is when you fall asleep during the entire ayahuasca ceremony, and you're doing this like deep healing through years and years and years of your lineage that you just cannot remember. And yeah, like absolutely nothing happened for me that night, so I was asleep. But they say that, you know, the experiences that have been healed through the nada will show themselves to you after, you know, after you go back and go into your life. So now it's just all about living my life. But the other thing that happened at the end of the ceremony was there was a wedding. So the shaman will do weddings, and they tie the people's hands together. He blesses them, just the two of them, and like gives them these beautiful words. It was just the most beautiful thing. And they do like renew vows like that and stuff, which I'm hoping Derek and I can go do. Because he's actually going to Rythmia in 3 weeks to do his ayahuasca ceremonies. And he's really excited, and I'm really excited for him. But I mean, it was literally just the most beautiful, life-changing experience, like just so healing, so loving. It showed me like just what life is about and why I'm here, and to just, you know, chill out and let myself be free and let myself be happy and let myself feel love and give love and be love, and not take life so seriously, and not really think, you know, about like the point of it, and not try so hard to be successful or try to be popular or try to achieve these egoic things. It's just be love, give love, be gratitude, like have gratitude for your life and be here now. That's the biggest thing. And I'm just so grateful that I had this experience. It's funny because while I was there, I was like, I don't think I'd ever come back here. Like, I don't think I'd ever do this again. But now that it's over, I think like I should probably do this like every 6 months or so. Just because it truly changed my life. Like, I will never be the same person that I was before. And I've already seen differences like in my life. Like, I have no craving to drink, or I haven't had any caffeine. She showed me, you know, what caffeine does to my body. And like, even though I didn't drink a lot, I like every time that I kind of was uncontrollable with it. Like, I would always want to drink until I would pass out, and I would try to control it. And now it's just like, I just don't see any point in putting that poison in my body. I don't see any point in drinking coffee. I don't see any point in like eating unhealthy food. I really truly love myself, and I really truly want to take care of myself just because of the fact that I love myself, not for any other reason, not to look a certain way or to be glowing or to look young or to do anything, but just because I truly care about this person and this body and this gift that I've been given and this vehicle to see this world with, you know? So it was just the most extraordinary experience I could have ever asked for in my entire life, and I can't wait to do it again. And I would do it again so many times. Like, it was just like, I feel so connected to the whole other part of me, you know, the part of me, my soul. Like, I feel so connected to my soul, whereas before it was just all about my body, and I didn't really have any connection to spirit or to my soul at all. It was just all what I could see and not really what I could feel. So I know this video is probably just, you guys probably fucking think I'm crazy and just unsubscribe. It's okay. I know it sounds fucking nuts, but nobody would understand unless you have done ayahuasca. Like, you really wouldn't understand. It's just it's a very intense and just bizarre experience, but it's so beautiful the way that it is, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, and I really cannot wait to do it again. It's really like overcoming the fear is like your biggest problem, because I think that's the biggest thing that held me back in my life. Like I was afraid to do anything. I was afraid of everything. It was just like, I want to stay in my comfort zone. I, don't want to really like venture out of it because I'm afraid of this happening, and it's beautiful outside your comfort zone, and you just see life in a totally different way. So I don't want to babble on about this forever, but it was incredible, and I'm hoping that I can get Derek to go back with me in November for our wedding anniversary, and we can do it all over again, and then we can renew our vows, and yeah, it was great. So thanks for watching this super long video. I hope you guys had like a snack or something during this, but yeah, that was my experience doing 4 ayahuasca ceremonies back to back, and yeah, here I am now, and I get to go back home tomorrow, and I get to live my life and start the integration process, which I can do videos on that if you guys want to see, maybe updates on this, because a lot of stuff does change when you go back home, and they say the ceremony is 50%, and then the integration of integrating all of this into your life is the other 50%. And so many people, if they didn't really get it over here, like they're gonna get it in the integration process. So I'm really excited about that, and just, yeah, I'm just excited. So thank you guys for watching. Leave any comments or questions you have below, and I'll try and answer them for you. And thank you.